Why do people fear public speaking? It is allegedly man's number one fear. More than burning in a building, more than drowning. It's the fear of public speaking. So let's take a look inside. Number one, being looked at in plain view. People fear this. You may be standing there, it's almost like the emperor who wasn't wearing his clothes. I believe I said that right, but you're naked. That's the feeling with a lot of people who are inexperienced. They've explained, I'm being looked at. Everybody's judging me. They're judging my nails. They're judging my shoes. Are they polished or not? Is my stomach projected out? Am I looking great or am I being judged? So being evaluated in front of a group of people isn't comfortable for many. Being judged, this is almost the biggest. I would say this is the biggest. People judging, evaluating what you're saying, what you're doing, how you're presenting, looking at your information, looking at you with one eye open, being judged, sounding unintelligent. Unintelligent. Nobody wants to be referred to as a dummy, as a fool, stupid. Sounding unintelligent is a big fear for most people. I've been on platforms for over 35 years, and in the beginning, I felt like that also. Well, am I going to say something that's going to make me look dumb? All of these fears that we're going through, I've experienced all of them. Making a mistake. Oh my, am I imperfect? You betcha. I'm perfectly imperfect and comfortable in my own skin today. In the beginning, I wasn't so comfortable. I was worried about making a mistake. Today, I don't care. If I omit a word, if I mispronounce a word, so what? So what? Here's the biggie. The inner voice critic. You know, that person that is the monkey on your shoulder, the one that might have been the disapproving aunt, uncle, father, mother, sister, brother, the inner voice, that negative person inside that's judging you and evaluating you. If you allow it to control you, it's that inner voice critic. Just say no. You're fine. Keep moving forward. And then there's this big fear of being heckled in social media. People are afraid of that. Like, oh my gosh, what if they didn't like what I said? If I omitted a word, if I did this, if I sounded unintelligent, what if Judy Jones writes about me or creates a video even worse and says something, do you know that Mitch said this and he was terrible? You know what, Judy? Get a life. Things happen. At least I was willing to take the risk and expose myself, naked but with clothes on, about what I'm communicating. Heckled in social media, it happens. I have been heckled endlessly at times, and I've responded very quickly. So I'll tell you a funny story. The first time I spoke in Malaysia, 3-4 years ago, I don't remember the exact date, there was an ad running. A picture was taken of me on a stage in Tokyo from the year before. There were 6,000 people in the audience, and I'm in a pose similar to this. It's now my money shot, something I use in a lot of my advertising, because it shows the proof of my professional speaking career. There's no way you can refute this. Well, some lady in Malaysia decided to mark, you should be ashamed of yourself showing a photoshopped image of you on a stage. She wrote this below the ad that was running on Facebook. She essentially heckled me, rained on my parade. So how did I respond? Did I get into an argument with her? No. What did I do? I attached a 5-minute video of me on that stage in Tokyo with Japanese people engaging with me. That shut her up. So here's the point. If you're afraid of it, you can get over it and you can have people heckle you and you can respond accordingly or not, because sometimes it gives energy if you respond to something. But all I wanted to do was, lady, I'm not an imposter. I'm the real deal. I've got the proof. So I posted the proof. Did she disappear? You bet you. I even sent her a message saying, do you have any apology to provide me? She disappeared. So usually people who strike at others go and stick their heads in the sand. So don't worry about it. Criticized publicly by an audience member. This has happened to me. With more than 3.5 decades on the platform, things happen. Somebody in the audience might be drunk, might resent me, might just want to scream for attention. Any experienced speaker has had to deal with this. And somebody has said something out loud, you have a couple choices to handle this. And I'm going to give you what I have done. One, sometimes you ignore it because they're screaming for attention. Number two, I may confront them and say, would you like to participate and get up on the stage with me right now and we can handle the issue? Or number three, you can call security and have the person removed. I think that's a bit aggressive, but I've also seen number four, one of my speaker friends had an issue like that and he shared, and I thought it was a great solution. What did he do? He said, I've got a lot to share with all of the rest of the people in the room today. There were 2,000 people in the audience, but you seem to want to take away what I'm sharing. Would all of you like to pay attention to him or pay attention to me? A group of people manhandled the disruptor and removed him. That's an option. Don't recommend it. You never know what's going to answer. But be prepared for the worst. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, and be prepared to handle that. Professional peer review. Some people think, oh my gosh, what if another professional speaker's in the room? Or another person that is like me and is going to talk about me later in social media. Another quick story, I spoke for the first time in Manila. There were 39 professional speakers at this professional speaking event. I was one of the invited professionals. I came, I was the second to last speaker. I was one of the late ads, and I let everybody speak before me. I came on and had a completely different approach than the rest. All 38 speakers, except me, stood on the stage the whole time. There were 200, 300 people in the room. Don't remember exactly. But what I do remember is the review I got, not just from the people in the audience who were engaged with me, and nobody used their cell phones when I spoke, because I don't permit cell phones to be used when I speak. You will put them away or I'll ask you to leave. But because I was willing to risk that, and I know my value and worth as a speaker, a professional speaker, my peer review, the 38 other speakers, all wanted to study with me and understand how I did what I did. They were trained by the Professional Speaker Association. They had some designation because they were big shots in their association and had a certificate to support it. Great, I'm all for certificates if it makes you feel better. But I found it interesting that all of these professionals wanted to learn what I did because they all did something that was routine and cookie cutter. I got out and engaged directly with the audience. I stepped into them, got off the stage, introduced myself, and was in the audience for the remainder of my time. Because I'm making sure nobody's on their cell phones and I am right connected to everybody else. So my peer review was very different than everybody else who was exactly the same. Oh, has it happened where I've drawn a blank? You betcha. Where I was about to make a point and I checked out? Okay. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. The only person who accused me of being perfect was my mother. That in itself was an imperfect statement, but it's true. Do you have blanks on occasion? And you just say, I have to chalk that to old age. Or I can chalk that, well, I had one of these moments, and you just keep proceeding. You proceed on to the next point. You don't look like you let it bother you. Freezing under pressure. People think, oh, I'm going to freeze. I'm going to just hunker down and I'm going to sweat and I'm not going to know what to do. You just march forward. I'm going to give you a couple tips in order to overcome this possible or potential scenario. And other people fear of recording. They're feared of, oh my gosh, this might come out. They're fearful of cameras going and recording them. Guess what, folks? Wake up. That's reality today. That is reality. Everything gets recorded. Not being able to please everyone. This is another big fear. Why people are afraid of speaking. Not being able to please everyone. Here's a statement that I learned from my mother. Mitchell, you've got a strong personality. Yes, I do. I'm a professional speaker today, and she knew this when I was young, that I would be on stages one day. She said, 1/3 of the people are going to love you because you're bold and you make claims. 1/3 of the people aren't going to like you. And 1/3 of the people aren't going to give a hoot about you and are just into themselves. So I'll work with pleasing 1/3 of the people. That's not bad. So hang around people who you can please and connect with. Here's the biggie for me. I judge my own performance because speaking is a performance, folks. It's not just dispensing information. You must perform. You are in the eyes of your audience, of all of your members. If someone is texting during my presentation, they're removed from my presentation. It's also an indicator that I haven't connected properly. Because if I've got some millennial or Gen Z or Gen Xer or whomever group or even a baby boomer texting during my presentation, it is disturbing me, it is disturbing the person next to him, and it is also sending a negative message that my information is not valuable and that they should do the same. It's an excuse. No, I handle it immediately. Immediately I reach out and say, buddy or miss, turn off your phone or leave the room. Again, I go back to what my mother said about me. 1/3 of the people are going to love me, 1/3 aren't going to care, and 1/3 aren't going to like me. I don't care about 2 of the groups. I care about the people that are connected and want to listen to what I am there to share. Get rid of your texters because they are a cancer. Fear of jokes falling flat. Am I funny when I'm on the stage? I'm accused of such. That comes with years and years of practice. Have I made mistakes? Have I made jokes that fell flat? Oh, first time I spoke in Indonesia. I was in Jakarta and I was in the morning session, was speaking for about 3 hours, and I made a joke because I'm a divorced man from America. Very common. People's marriages don't necessarily last according to the fairy tale. I said, I'm divorced and this is part of my story, and it just happened to tie to what I was sharing about you do recover and you move on in life. And by the way, how many of you have experienced divorce in the room and can relate to what I'm sharing? It's a question that some people might feel ashamed of, but also it's no big deal to those of us from North America, because most of the time you're going to find somebody that's either been divorced or is experiencing a divorce, or it's just a fact of life. It's no big deal to me. Okay, it happened. No regrets of being married, it happened. Well, I made this joke, this statement, and it was the wrong thing to say. I was in a Muslim country. I was in Jakarta, Indonesia. Not one hand out of 250 people went up. Now, were any of them divorced? Possibly. But there was shame of being a divorcee within that demographic of people. I made a mistake that day. So be careful of the jokes or funny little humorous statements that you make based on the audience with whom you're connecting. I realized within a millisecond I had made an error. I had to do my best to recover because I was there to sell. Did it affect my sales? I don't know. I certainly know that it didn't aid them by making an inappropriate joke in that environment. Here's another big fear people have is answering a question and not answering intelligently. How smart is your response? Because there might be somebody who could have answered it better or would have answered it in a different way in the audience. So people fear answering questions. So my guess is during the Q&A session, if your speech allows it, mine don't until after I've closed and sold. If you're going to be taking questions, you can say that's a great question. I'll have to get back to you on it. If you don't have a great response, you don't have to be the oracle. You don't have to have all the answers in your speech. If you don't know the answer, say, look, great question. I'll get back to you. Who likes that question? Well, we'll get back and I'll post it online on my Facebook group. We'll get back to you. I don't have the best answer right now. Easy way to diffuse it, move on to the next. These are the keys and reasons why people are afraid of public speaking. I know this gave great insight because I implemented a lot of these into my presentations over the years, and it made it much easier to take the stage and become successful.